Awesome. At 10 on the dot. Good morning, everybody.
Hey, good morning.
Again. How's everybody this fine Monday?
Right.
Good. And hello to everybody joining us online. It's so great to have you here. Don't have to worry about having your camera on. Of course, if you want to speak, we try to watch to see if your mic has gone on or off, but you can always come back on camera and wave your hand or put something in the chat if we need to as well. So thank you again for coming to our monthly Mornings on Main. This is an opportunity, of course, for our stakeholders and everyone that is interested in what's happening in downtown Danville to come together and chat. We try to always have a scheduled speaker, something of interest. Sometimes it's not always specific to downtown, but very specific to our community because, you know, while our work is focused in the geographic area of the River District, the impacts that we hope to achieve and the reason we exist go far, far beyond that, of course. And so we're going to start off, I think, like we always do with roundtable introductions. I know everybody's like, I know everybody, but you know, that's not always the case. And just as a reminder, we record these and we put them out for people to watch after the fact. And so sometimes people who are interested in learning more about our community that aren't from here take a look, and they need to know who you are too, so that they know who to come to when they get to Danville for everything that they may need. So I'm going to switch it around. I think it's usually start in person, but today I think we'll go and actually start online. So this is your call if you're getting coffee in the kitchen and listening. But, I'm going to call your name. If for some reason you can't unmute or get to your computer, we can come back around, but let's give it a go. Lori, it looks like you are unmuted, so I'm going to take a chance and start with you to introduce yourself this morning. Name and where you work is great.
Lori Bidgood from Potter's Clayworks.
Thank you, Lori. It's nice to have you online. We usually see you here, but it's great that you could join us online too.
Yeah, thought I'd take a chance.
Good. I'm glad you did. Kathy, can you hear me? Please go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yes, good morning. I'm Kathy Gore with the United Way.
Hey, Kathy, thank you for coming. Austin, can you hear us? I don't know if you can.
Oh yeah, I'm here. Austin Bunn from Valley Brewing.
Thank you, Austin. How about Lauren? Lauren, I saw your beautiful face earlier when you logged in.
Hey y'all, Lauren at Blush and Glow Spa. Good to see everybody this morning.
Good to see you again as well. Cassandra, can you, I don't know if you, yay, come on and introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm Cassandra Shelton from the Institute for Advanced Learning and Research.
Cassandra, see, that's my daughter's name too. And I called you Cassandra and I call her Cassandra. So you're just Cassandra also?
Yes, ma'am.
Awesome. Thank you for joining us here this morning. And then Ken Gilley, let's get you on this morning, Ken.
Ken Gilley, City of Danville, Director of Community Development.
Awesome. And then Susan. Susan.
Trying to get off mute. Yeah, sorry.
Hi.
Monday, Susan Moss, Moss Mountain Outfitters, 326 Main Street.
Moss Mountain Outfitters. If you haven't had the chance to go to Moss Mountain yet, you have to give it a go. This was Head Up Eyes Forward, which they still have as a brand, and that they have expanded into the larger space on the other side down the block on Main Street, and are a fantastic outdoor outfitter. So Susan, I hope things are going well with you in your new location.
Yeah, things are great. Thanks so much.
Excellent, excellent. All right, I think that's everybody on the screen. So we're going to round robin, and I'll start over here actually with Kirsten for a change. We'll go with staff.
Hey, I'm Kirsten A. Heron, Communications Events Manager here at the District Association.
Communications and events extraordinaire. Let's just be clear about that. That newsletter is killing it all the time. Thank you. And then Maggie, just a brief introduction because we'll come back.
Hi, everyone. I'm Maggie Richardson. I'm the Regional Coordinator for the Health Collaborative.
Morning, everyone. Will Mackerman. I'm the Programs and Services Manager at the River District Association.
And I'm Shannon Farmer. I'm with the Lavender Group. We do group insurance and individual coverage.
Sandra Stidham, Sales Manager at WAKG, WBT Radio.
Good morning. I'm Jeff Bond with Solex Architecture.
I'm Catherine Waters. I'm with Jeff at Solex Architecture. My name's Alyssa Turner. I'm the office manager here at RDA.
Excellent. And I am Diana Schwartz, largest troublemaker in residence here at the River District Association. And for those of you that may not know, actually, Jeff with Solex was an integral part of this beautiful office that you see here at 206 and 208 North Main Street, as well as many other gorgeous spaces in the River District and beyond. And also Solex is our main sponsor for our facade rendering program. So thank you so much for helping us out with that. And we'll definitely be talking about Jeff and some other things as we go forward for the rest of the year, because can't give you enough credit for the wonderful things you do and all the support you give, not just for us, but the whole community. So thank you. So now that we have the intros out of the way, any news or updates that anyone wants to share? It can be something happening on your own. Maybe you have someone with a new recognition in your office, or a new credential or license. Hey, Cheryl, you can perfect timing. Before we go on to exciting news, go ahead and introduce yourself. We just finished.
Cheryl Sutherland, I'm Main Street Art Club.
Awesome. Thank you for being here. So we were at that part. If anybody wants to talk about any celebrations or something happening with you, ribbon cuttings, anniversaries, anything we need to know, now's the time.
One new thing that we have, of course, our neighboring office is River City Tan, and they just got a cryo chamber, which was last week. And that's really cool for recovery of exercise, arthritic pain. It's really cool, really cutting edge for Danville. So it's pretty nice.
And that's where you get in and they use like super cool,
Super cold. I mean,
like 180 degrees below or
Yeah.
something like that. I
I
mean,
stay for like 3 minutes to 4 minutes max, I think. And so, yes, that's super exciting.
I love that. I'm so glad you mentioned that. And if you're not familiar, River City Tans is next to the Lavender Group over on Lynn Street. So if you haven't had a chance to see those offices, didn't you do those as
Yes.
well? Of course. So go see more Solex handiwork. Well, it's hands, but it's design work too. What's going on?
Well, something that y'all might could enjoy doing for someone that is deserving of it. And something that we have brought back to WBTM is called Citizenship of the Month Award. And the last Friday of every month, we read a letter, and our listeners nominate folks like, for instance, Carl Ellis. He was nominated. That was the first one. Neil Morris, who was chief of police at one time. We've had different ones that have brought things to the community that need to be recognized of all of what they've done. The Citizenship of the Month Award. So if y'all are members of other organizations like this, that you have someone that is deserving of that, just write us a letter and send it to us, or you can send it to my attention. And they get recognition, they get gift certificates to different places like the Outback and Hoppers Poppers, and they get the WW Limo ride. They get their name on the Danville Dental Associates as a sponsor of it. And so they get their picture on the boards, the digital boards. And of course, they get plenty of publicity on WBTM. So it's a great honor.
That is wonderful. So they need to send a letter to you? Is that what it needs to be? An email? Something like that?
Email. They can look on WBTMdanville.com, and it's got the registration on there. And if they just want to fill out something, like their name and where they worked and what kind of contributions that they've made to the city, that's basically what we do.
Okay.
And then they're voted on, and then they are notified. So that's something that I think all of y'all know somebody in the city that was very needing to be recognized.
Yes, and spread that among all of our networks too. That's the power. It's not so much just the people around the table, but the people that everybody around the table knows. When is the deadline? When it was
We do
typically?
it every month.
Okay.
So, from the beginning of 1 month to the end of the next month is time to do it. So
Perfect. Thank you for sharing that with the
Yeah.
group here. I hope people will nominate and take advantage of the opportunity.
I will send you that information Okay, and then maybe you can send it out to other folks and remind them of what to do and what we're looking for.
Sure, put it in the newsletter, I think. Yeah, it'd be great. All right, who else got something going on?
I do. Kathy Gordon,
Yay.
United Way. So couple things. So the United Way is in its 100th year of serving Danville and Pittsylvania County. So we are in our 100th anniversary year. And so we are working on, perhaps a virtual event that we can include the community in. That would be on a focus of health and wellness. So that's all I'm going to say about that. That will be coming out in October. So we're working on that. We're also getting ready to gear up for our giving campaign. And so our kickoff will be September the 27th, and more information will be available on that. It will be held at Two Witches from 5:30 to 7. So we look forward to engaging the community and learning more about the United Way and what we've been doing for the last 100 years. We plan a lot of fun facts and fun games and exciting time for the United Way. Also, if you didn't know, the United Way building was sold in July. And so the United Way now is located in what we're calling the back suite. And so from Craighead Street, it currently looks like we're not here, but we haven't moved. We will have a new entrance probably by October, where you'll come in 2 doors up and come down a hall, and our new entrance will be, an interior entrance, and you just enter from the hallway to the suite of offices that are located two doors up. So we are still on Craighead Street, and we want people to know we haven't left, and that, as tenants now of this building, we occupy the back suite. And so come by and visit us and see, what we've done to this space. Don't know who will take the front space, but it is available. Gentry Lofts owns the building now. And so if you know anyone that is looking for some square footage that fronts Craighead Street, contact them at Gentry Lofts.
Kathy, that is a wealth of information, and we actually do need, we have several tenants that are looking for some move-in ready space for the River District. So not only is this helpful to know about what's happening with United Way, but thanks for sharing the information about your office move and the availability up front. But Kathy, if people have questions for you or United Way or in the giving campaign or the events coming up, what's the best way for them to contact you?
Call me at the United Way, 792-3700, extension 106. I can be reached on email, Kathy Gore, United Way, DPC.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. So glad that you came. It's great information to have and to share. All right, who else has anything they'd like to share going on, talk about?
So we have some exciting news.
Please.
Catherine Waters, who's sitting here next to me, she's a Danville native and graduate of NC State, recently passed her 3-year internship program, as well as her 7 exams to get her license in architecture in the state of Virginia.
Woo! That is fantastic. So are you planning on staying here in Danville now? Hopefully do we get to keep you? Yay! That's always my most important question, love. Congratulations again to you. Absolutely. Well, anything we can do to help support your journey, let us know. We'll continue to send work that way. All right. Anybody else here? Let me make it easy. Anybody else here in the room want to share? You're welcome to stand or sit, Paul. Let me get you over here so we can see you. The camera is over here and you can introduce yourself. Or you can stay over here, but go ahead and introduce yourself. Well, tell the lovely folks your name and who you're with.
My name is Steve Wilson. I live in Tampa.
And I like to call him Paul. Constantly, I don't know, it's embedded.
I don't live in the Lion House.
Thank you, Steve, I appreciate it.
But the take home list, everyone has to have someone to blame, so.
I'll take it. Anybody online, anything that anybody wants to share going on? I know we've already had Kathy talk. Anybody else?
Yeah, I've got some, 2 things actually. First, a celebration. We, as many of you might have seen, we're now distributing in North Carolina, which is a really big, yeah, it was awesome. We've been doing that about a month now, but that's been a pretty big project for a long time. It does not mean that we have a location in North Carolina. It just means that we now have a distribution partner that can sell our products. So, and then the second thing, Kirsten is not here. She's our tapper manager, but she is planning, I think she talked about it a while back, but we're going to do another River District market. That's coming up on the 3rd. I think spots for that are full, but we're going to continue to do these as we kind of see how they go. And what we're looking there is we get vendors, we try and vet them as much as we can. But something else that I think we wanted for this, but it's been kind of hard to like just put out there. I think it needs to be explained is if you have a business and like you sell products, even if you're a boutique, whatever, this is for you too. Like if I know we're all short staffed, so a lot of times you don't have the people to keep your physical location open and come here for an afternoon. But that is certainly a possibility. So if you're interested, her email is Kirsten at balladbrewing.com, or you can email me and I'll get it to you. Mine is Alston at balladbrewing.com.
All right, Kirsten, will you spell Kirsten because I've seen lots of them?
Yes, it is it is KIERSTEN at balladbrewing.com.
And that's why I asked, because it's a little different than the one that we have here.
Yep.
So yeah, wanted to make sure. Awesome. Well, I hope that event continues to thrive and grow. And of course, anything that we can do to help promote that, we're happy to do it. Thank you for bringing it up this morning. And congratulations on being able to distribute in North Carolina. They now they get to have some of the goodness here out of Danville too.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. Anybody else online on Zoom have anything you want to talk about? Lauren, did I see that mute come off?
Yeah, I wanted to provide an update with our yoga studio, long-awaited yoga studio. That will be opening for classes right after Labor Day. We have hired a yoga studio manager, and she's going to be joining us this week, so we'll get that up and rolling ASAP.
So if you're not familiar, Lauren has Blush and Glow Spa in the bank building right here on Main Street. First Citizens. I knew I'd get it. Thank you, Kirsten. And she offers all kinds of services there now. Everything, I think the salt room is on the way even, but you're talking about traditional waxing and massage, and I don't know, is tanning part of your
tanning, facials,
tanning, and now of course gorgeous space for yoga in the basement of the building. And so really excited to see the classes get started over there. Lauren, you have done and remember, Lauren started on Lynn Street in the spot where actually I believe where Lori is now. And so just keeps expanding and growing and expanding and growing. And it's because people are shopping local. I don't have to tell this group about shopping local, but I always have to get the plug in there because somebody's going to be watching this later. Please make sure that we continue to support all of our businesses and Lauren's new efforts to get some yoga back into the River District on a regular rotation. So thank you, Lauren. And congratulations on your Hometown Hustle episode. If you're not familiar, there's a fantastic show that's in its first season last year called Hometown Hustle, produced by a beautiful lady named Natalie with Rudy's Girl Productions out of Martinsville. And she is producing this easy television, you can totally see it going to a major network television series called Hometown Hustle, and it's about entrepreneurs. And the first season was primarily Martinsville, and then she just wrapped filming for this season, partially here in Danville, and Lauren is going to be one of the featured entrepreneurs in the episode. So in addition to several others locally as well. So if you haven't looked at Hometown Hustle on YouTube, I would say take a look because it's incredible. It's incredible what she's got going on there, and you'll see lots of people you recognize, I'm sure. All right, anybody else joining us from Zoom wants to talk about anything happening? Going once, going twice. All right, let me take a look at this agenda. What do we got next? River District updates. So really quickly, this primarily affects the folks that hold ABC licenses, but also it affects everybody, but primarily people with ABC license. We've had this ongoing discussion about a downtown kind of open container district. It's an initiative that started with some of our elected officials at City Council. And we've been just as a partner to the city, trying to kind of work through what would that look like? What would administration of that look like? And so we are very close to nailing down a date for our local ABC agent and our district ABC license holders to come together and discuss what does this mean for liability, for extra costs, for potential extra revenue generation, liability, all of those things. And then we can take that information with the restaurants back to the city for them to continue working through what that plan would look like. So I promise to keep everybody updated on where we are, at least where RDA is, and trying to assist with that process. And that's where it's at right now. It looks like that meeting with the license holders, and it doesn't mean you're excluded if you're not a license holder by any means. This is just really intense questioning for those with a license to make sure that they're doing what they need to do with the agent. But that'll be held probably the second week of September is what it's looking like. But I'll have that information going out this week as well. And I know there's some other updates that we have, but we have other staffers here who will be talking about those. So I don't want to steal any of their content like I normally. So with that, I think we're actually going to move on to our guest speaker today, which is Maggie Richardson. Maggie, I did not ask anybody for a bio, so I'm actually going to ask you to go ahead and introduce yourself and go ahead and start.
Sure. Well, thanks so much for having me. Dan, my name is Maggie Richardson, and I'm the regional coordinator for the Health Collaborative. So I've been in this role for since May of 2020, and prior to that, I was in AmeriCorps Vista with the Health Collaborative, and actually worked very closely with Kirsten. We were doing a lot of local food systems work. So yeah, I guess happy to be here.
I'm going to adjust the camera so we make sure our guests can see you. You're good.
Jeez. Right. Okay, so I hope that's showing okay for the folks on Zoom too. But I'm here today to present on our new health equity report. This is an update and expansion of the first regional report that we prepared in 2017. And so before I get into some of the data and the findings, just wanted to present a little bit of background and context on the Health Collaborative and what we do. So we are a cross-sector coalition, and our mission is to unite individuals and organizations to create action to support health for all people in the Dan River region. And it's important to know that when we talk about health, we're not just talking about not being sick, but about overall wellness and all the things that support your ability to live well. So physical, mental, social health, opportunities for health at the community level. And so our approach is a little bit different. Historically, public health efforts have focused a lot on changing individual behaviors or connecting people to clinical services. But we know that what happens in the doctor's office only accounts for about 20% of the factors that influence our overall health. So the other 80% is influenced by built environment, by socioeconomic factors, and by health behaviors. And I think health behaviors are also greatly influenced by built environment, socioeconomic factors. So this other 80% that we're talking about is called the social determinants of health. And so this is where we really focus our work in the Health Collaborative. And so we know that where you live, what resources, opportunities you have access to, that these things play a significant role in your ability to make healthy choices and live a healthy life. So part of the purpose of the Health Equity Report is to get a better understanding of what the social determinants look like in our community. But we also really see this as a tool for bringing people together to collaborate across sectors. Through our work, we're trying to create changes, policies, systems, and environments. And so this is the type of work that can't happen with just one organization on their own. And it's going to take really more than public health professionals to do this work too. It really requires that all of us come together across sectors, across backgrounds and communities. This report provides an opportunity for us to identify where our shared concerns are, our shared interests, and to develop and align strategies that will have the greatest impact for all of us. So we began this process back in June of 2020, and we partnered with the Center for Housing and Community Studies at UNCG. So they worked to review and update all of the data that was part of the 2017 report, and created almost 150 new maps and charts and tables with all kinds of data. They also collected a ton of rich qualitative data from a series of interviews and focus groups and community surveys, and also from a community-led steering committee that kind of guided this process. And so with all of that information, they were able to provide an assessment of the current state of health in our region and identified some key kind of issues or gaps. And with that, provided a series of kind of actionable recommendations that we can work on together as a community. And this map is very much, or this report is very much map-based. Maps are broken down into census tracts. And if you're not familiar, census tracts are essentially the US Census Bureau's way of defining a neighborhood or community. And so this is important to us because it allows us to look at data not just for the city or county level as a whole, but comparing different parts of our community to one another. And so the River District is included in Census Tract 5, and also part of Census Tract 5 is the Monument Berryman area and part of Green Street as well. So when I refer to Tract 5, I'm talking about this area and these other kind of parts of this community. So getting into some of the data here, when we look at chronic diseases, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, arthritis, and diabetes are some of the most prevalent across all the areas of our region. We also find some important information when we look at cancer. An interesting finding to come from this was when we compare the prevalence or the percentage of people getting cancer in Danville compared to the state of Virginia as a whole. And so prevalence is about the same. But when we look at mortality rates or those people who are getting cancer and dying from cancer, significantly higher in Danville than the state as a whole. And so being able to break down the information like this, gives us lots of opportunities to ask questions about why we're seeing these types of outcomes. And so we're able to look to things like prevention and access to preventative care. So when we think about cancer screenings, our region has a relatively low rate overall for people staying up to date and regularly accessing cancer screenings. And we look at, for example, screenings for colorectal cancer. We see that the lowest rates are in and around the city of Danville, as you see in the yellow on the screen. And so, talking to people, we hear lots of different reasons for this. And one of them is just fear. One person said, I think most people are afraid of what they're going to hear when they go to the doctor. Like when I go to the doctor, I ain't going till I have to be really bad off before I'll go. So, thinking about kind of some of the qualitative data that helps explain the numbers that we're seeing. Similar story when it comes to cancers for breast cancer or screenings. Again, the lowest rates in our region are in the city of Danville. We heard from people sort of this implicit bias, our healthcare system coming into play for some folks. One woman said, I was on Medicaid and went to a doctor and asked her, can I get a mammogram? She told me no. I'm like, okay, I have a medical history of this, but she didn't take that into consideration. And I felt like if I had private insurance, maybe she would have looked into that more deeply than if you're on Medicaid. And so, this is one person's experience, but points to that our perception and our interactions with the healthcare system have a real impact on access to care and preventative care. And then turning to the social determinants, again, this contributes to 80% of our overall health outcomes. And so I don't think we can have a full conversation about health and health equity without understanding the conditions in our community that people are living in and making decisions about their health in. So we know that poverty is one of the strongest drivers of poor health outcomes. And typically we see this correlation between high unemployment rates and high poverty rates. But in our region, and particularly in Danville, we see that being employed has not necessarily kept people out of poverty. And so there are some tracts throughout the region, Census Tract 5 in Danville being one of them, where 20% or more of the population are employed but still living in poverty. And so you can understand how that would impact people's ability to make choices, their lives. One person said a lot of people in the community, they're in survival mode. So their main issue is their day-to-day as opposed to how they're going to change something 10 to 15 years down the road. Lack of health insurance is another big challenge. And Medicaid expansion in Virginia has improved conditions a lot for people, but we still see people without access to insurance. And in our current healthcare system, that essentially means no access to care. So, you know, we heard from people that I've known and worked with people who have allowed themselves to become really sick or in need. And the reason they didn't seek services was because they didn't know or think they could, because they didn't have insurance. But we also know that just having any type of insurance is not the end all be all. With high costs of prescriptions and copays, some people like this person said, I have insurance, and there are times when I don't take myself or take my children to the doctor because of cost. And I've heard that for entrepreneurs or small business owners, accessing and affording health insurance can be a really big barrier. So, you know, there may be people here today who can relate to this experience or at least empathize with others. Transportation, again, is another strong determinant. And I think this person really summed it up. They said transportation is just in and of itself a barrier for everything, whether it's getting to work, getting to the doctor, getting to the store, you know, transportation is a barrier. And so throughout the region, Danville has the highest rate of households without access to a vehicle. And when we look at Tract 5, that number is especially high. 37% of households do not have access to a vehicle. And we are fortunate enough to have a public transportation system in the city, but we heard a lot from residents that it's not necessarily adequate or meeting people's mobility needs and helping them be successful and, you know, especially meet their health needs. And then when we talk about housing, there are sort of these three lenses that we look at housing data through. And so first, when we think about quality of housing, we know that the city has a lot of very old housing stock, and you know, old housing the quality can deteriorate quickly. And so one person spoke to this direct connection between housing quality and health. They said, unfortunately, a lot of those situations are not what I would say are safe or healthy. We get a lot of calls about mold, which is not something our environmental health regulates or has any authority or jurisdiction with mold. When it comes to cost, nearly half of renters in the city and 43.5% of renters in Tract 5 are housing cost burdened, which means that they're spending 30% or more of their household income on rent and utility expenses. And so you think about someone that's putting that much of their household income to housing, that of course leaves a lot less left over for things like reliable transportation, medications, childcare, all kinds of other essentials that support health and well-being. And with, you know, these sort of deteriorating housing quality and rising costs, we're seeing many more people just without access to stable housing. And so, you know, someone spoke to the way that homelessness is sort of looking differently in our community compared to other larger urban areas. They said that's because you don't see a lot of people just roaming the streets homeless, but you will see a lot of people who sleep on someone's couch for a couple nights and then sleep on somebody else's couch for a couple nights. And so I think this is important because all of the official numbers we have pointing to how many people are experiencing homelessness are very likely an undercount, because we know that, it's really hard to measure what homelessness looks like when this is what we're seeing. And then social connection. This is, again, one of those social determinants that's really, really important. And I think that, all of us have experienced the isolation of the pandemic. So I think more people now have a better sense of the toll that it can take on someone's health and well-being when you aren't able to connect with friends, with loved ones, in community. So in our survey, we asked people how much they agree or disagree with the following statement. So this community is a place where people get together to do things for the community. It's a place that's welcoming, people from different backgrounds and cultures. And it's a place where neighbors look out for one another. And though people mostly agree, I think that there's still some work to be done to make sure that, our community is welcoming and inclusive and valuing of all people, because it matters to our health and our well-being. So I think that sometimes we don't always think about the way that our work that we do, or just going about our day-to-day lives impacts health, but we truly do all play a role in health and having a healthy community. And so I think that this is something that's just generally relevant to everyone. We know that when there are people who are sick or are hurting or are unwell in our community, that ultimately harms all of us. And likewise, when we invest in and we support people with the greatest needs, that ultimately benefits all of us too. And so I think that we all have a stake or an interest in seeing a healthy community and supporting a healthy community. Also, an important kind of thought is most of our current systems put a lot of resources and effort into the treatment side of things, treating people when they're already sick or they're already hungry or they're already in poverty. And this is actually more expensive and less effective than investing in prevention and those things that support community conditions that support health and well-being for everyone. So again, thinking about the fact that we all should be interested in seeing things that make our community healthier. And then thinking about the River District specifically, I wanted to kind of touch on the different ways that things that are happening here play into those social determinants. So I think, when we think about economic development and what that looks like in the River District, it's small businesses are the backbone of economic growth and economic resilience that's happening here. And small businesses are also the ones that are creating high quality jobs, contributing to quality of life for people that work in this area. And I think there's always an interest in bringing in big firms that will have a lot of jobs, which can be really good and really important. But those types of businesses don't always provide jobs that pay living wages or that provide benefits. And so those things can actually have a negative impact on the health and well-being of our community. So I think that this approach that the River District Association is taking and others are supporting the River District to support small businesses and entrepreneurs is creating many more opportunities for economic mobility, which we know is directly related to better improved health outcomes. Thinking about the built environment, including housing, I think that the River District is, it's got to be one of the most walkable places in the city. We have the beautiful river walk, direct access to nature, outdoors. These things are good for, our mental health, for our physical health, and creating opportunities for active living. But I think also when we think about walkability, that really means access. Think about those people who don't have access to a car. And if they have the opportunity to live or reside in the River District, they have access to all different types of resources and amenities, right? Health center, library, banks, post office, lots of employment opportunities. So creating environments where people can people can get by if they don't have a car. People can access what they need in close distance to them. That's good for health. And so I think, you know, the River District can be a model to other parts of the city in that way. Also thinking about housing, I think it's so interesting to think about the fact that, you know, at one point there was no one living in the River District, and, you know, now there are a couple thousand, I think, residents just a few years later. And so we think about, you know, the housing development growth that's happening here and how desperately that's needed across the whole city. I think, you know, we need to be asking important questions about who's included, who's excluded from the type of residential development that's happening here. Because again, this is a really good place to live that allows people lots of opportunities to live healthy and live well. And so we should be intentional about who has access to those types of opportunities. And then finally, again, social connection and health. I think the River District, again, is a model for providing space where people can gather, people can come together, people can gather for free, you know, without the expectation of spending money. It's really important for communities too. And again, I would just urge, you know, that we think about how we're including people, engaging people, providing opportunities for all types of people to participate. You know, these things are good for community and good for all of us when they're working well. So I will leave it there and be happy to answer questions.
Take the presentation down so we can see the Zoom folks and see if they have questions. Meg, that was wonderful. Thank you. First of all, let me just start there and say thank you for joining us and sharing that. And I'm really glad that you wrapped with the saying, why is this important for us and where we are? Because you know, I'm sure some people probably looked at the agenda and thought, why are we talking about health? But quality of place and quality of life are directly related to one another. And this is absolutely talking about quality of life. And so I'm so thrilled that we had the chance to have Maggie come in now that they have the new reports back. And I don't know how many of you have had the opportunity. They've been sharing the information at different community meetings. How many now? Like 7 in 3 locations?
Yeah, 12 overall.
12 overall. Yes. God bless you all. It's a lot of community meetings. But we know, and you hit on some big ones, you know, things like health insurance is so hard for entrepreneurs, and we realize, and affordable housing and access to healthcare. And you know, this is another great thing for people who are thinking about starting a business or investing in our city. There may be an opportunity here for you to marry your desire to start a new business with a need that exists in the community, which will give everybody a better chance at what they need to be healthy and happy in the community. But I digress. Questions for Maggie? Anybody here have questions for Maggie? What about online? Any questions? So I'll have one. I know that there was recently a community housing summit, or regional housing summit. So hopefully, I was curious if you or someone with the Health Collaborative was able to attend, and maybe, you know, were you encouraged by the discussions that you were seeing taking place regarding housing? Because I know that's something we're all very much concerned.
Yeah, I was not able to attend that. And I'm sure one of our partners somewhere probably did.
Yeah.
But I will say, and if I understand correctly, I think the focus there was very much on like kind of workforce housing, you know, providing for workforce. I will say that something that we are kind of talking with our partners about is creating a housing collaborative. So it's like the Health Collaborative, similar structure, but thinking especially about housing. So that's something that will be, I'm sure you'll be hearing more about soon, but I think the goal there is to bring together all of the people who are talking about housing and you know, think about building a strategy that meets all the different needs, like everything along the housing spectrum. So I think that will be just really helpful to make sure that people are talking to each other, communicating, and that the work that's moving forward is aligned. And yeah, so
that's great. No, that's a great point. And if you have any interest in being part of the Health Collaborative, it's a rather large group with with participation from cross sectors. So it's not just particularly health, it's all different sectors. Maggie, how would they get in touch with you if they wanted to learn more about Health Collaborative?
Yeah, so anyone is, welcome to email me. I have some cards. I also have some kind of flyers with sort of the what's next in terms of like this report and kind of how we're moving things forward. I'm also happy to just meet anyone and kind of learn about what you're interested in and where we can plug you in to, things that are ongoing or things you want to get started working on. So happy to chat with anyone. We also have a Danville chapter that's thinking specifically about Danville, because we also work in Pennsylvania County and Caswell County as well. So I'd be happy to connect you with who's our Danville chapter chair also.
Excellent. And I appreciate bringing up about the collaborative. We're starting to learn that, top down doesn't always have the most effective solutions. Sometimes it's really grassroots collaboration, working with multiple agencies, even if they have some crossover, and even if they don't, it kind of is a no-brainer to say to yourself, makes sense to collaborate with people to try to tackle big issues. But we don't tend to typically. We tend to try to find the way alone or find a leader that can lead the way for us, right? So collaborative work is some of the hardest work that you will ever do, but it can really lead to some of the richest outcomes. So we're fortunate to have the Health Collaborative here in the community. We also have an entrepreneurship ecosystem collaborative, Dan River Region Entrepreneur Ecosystem. And of course, now they're talking about housing collaborative as well. And so lots of opportunities for, again, cross-sector collaboration and communication in many of these collaboratives. But Maggie, let's give you a round of applause for an amazing. And just really appreciate you being here. So reach out to Maggie if you'd like some more information. Okay, so I think we are up to, Will, you got any updates for us you want to talk about with programs and services?
Yeah, absolutely. Right now we're over the summer, we're in a little bit of a lull for our grant programming at RDA. So that should be hopefully kicking back into gear in the fall. So we'll have more updates on some of our grant programs then. So really just two things that I want to let everybody know about, two events. First, there's a flyer on the table for some of the folks in the room, but in September, we'll have our second Startup Slam event. It'll be September 27th at 6 o'clock at the River District Event Center. And really this event is just all about hearing cool, new, great business ideas that people have. So it could be I want to see an amusement park in Danville, to I want to open up a doggy boutique in the River District, to any business idea you may have. We want people to come and share their ideas. $10 ticket, cash only, gets you in the door, gets you a meal. So you get to share a meal with your community as well. Bring your friends, bring your family. We want it to be fun and a good time. And yeah, just hear some great ideas, because I think at the end of the day, just about every business that I'm aware of started with an idea in somebody's head. So we just want to hear those ideas and get those out there and support them as well. So if you want to register, feel free to call or email Alyssa, and any particular information to provide you, or just.
We pretty much just need your name and your email address, just in case we need to reach out with anything.
Just reach out to Alyssa if you want to come, and hope to see everyone there who can make it that night. And then the second thing is just again, another event. It'll be around the same time towards the end of September. It's the Reflections of Home Art Festival that the library is kind of hosting for the most part. So, and Cheryl, I think you're involved with that as well, but be September 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. And it's all different types of kind of community events around arts and working with the business community. And I think at the end, there's kind of a capstone event that's called the Unhappy Hour, which is going to be a telling of the Telltale Heart. So it'll be, I think it's $25 tickets, and you can register through the library. It'll be at the Pocket Park on the 24th of September. So hopefully people can make it to some of these events over the next month. And yeah, I don't know if you have any more information on that, Kirsten, but that's kind of it for my updates.
Yeah, I'll jump in on the Reflections of Home. If you are a business
in the River District. The focus is the River District. And you want to do something that week, you can be included in the marketing for the art festival. So for example, Cheryl has a class, so that's being listed. Me's Burgers is doing a pole burger to go along with the unhappy hour. So if you, it doesn't have to be, as long as it's creative and something sort of speaking to arts in the River District or in Danville and River District, you can get that out there. So, you know, I think Balance releasing your home brew, somebody else could do a special cocktail. You know, it could be 30% off on black t-shirts at somewhere, you know, anything that kind of goes along with creativity or with the whole event. So if you're interested in doing that and you haven't already, you can get in touch. And I can send it out, so I don't know their emails off the top of my head, but Jessica Austin or Russell Carter at the library. So you can always give them a call or email and say, hey, I want to be involved somehow. I have this idea, or do you have any suggestions? So the more people who participate, the bigger deal it is, and it can be really fun downtown, bring people downtown that week. Yes, so speaking of a similar kind of event, I'll jump to, you've probably heard of Danville Fashion Week. Kelly Cunningham over at Fashion House organizes it. And this year, usually it's just a one-time event. It's on this year's Saturday, November 12th. But she has been asked to do kind of a week-long sort of downtown fun thing. So kind of similar to the Arts Festival. So I'll be sending out an email shortly with some information about that, just on her behalf, so that you can get the information. But yeah, if you have clothing or art or creative things, or we might feature boutiques probably in our video that month, and just kind of make kind of a fashion creativity promotion celebration that week. So if you're interested in participating in that, you can email her. I think she mentioned maybe Moz Cakes is doing a special cupcake for Fashion Week, and they're having a kids fashion show on Sunday. So again, it's kind of, it can be very loosely, yeah, a special drink. And also just another, and all the boutiques, you're very welcome to get involved in that if you have some kind of event or promotion you want to do. And again, she and I will just be pushing that information out for the most part. I had one, so, and for the fashion show, a lot of people are coming into town from out of town, so it's also an opportunity to show off and say, hey, look at this great things we have. Come look at it. No, not necessarily, but it's just a great way to show off what wonderful downtown we have.
Yeah, not necessarily.
So I will be sharing that in our communications, like I shared the reflection component. So you can keep an eye out for that. We are getting into holiday mode. So Christmas on the Plaza is going to be on December 3rd. So there will be more information coming out about that. I believe we're doing 3:30 to 6 or something like that, give or take half an hour. So there'll be more about that coming. Window decorating contest we're still going to do that like we do every year. And that will be November 25th through December 2nd. So voting will end December 2nd. So everything needs to be up by the Friday after Thanksgiving for voting to start. So you can start thinking about that if you're a downtown business. Yes.
You guys also doing the vacant storefront for the holiday decorations?
We'd like to.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know when that'll start getting organized, but definitely I think we want to continue doing that. Thankfully there's not a lot of empty storefronts downtown, but the ones that we have are large, and even the posters made a difference last year, like from the museum. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, we'll be I'll be doing very soon a communication with all the holiday stuff, and that will be included.
And quite frankly, that's a program we'd like to do, not sorry to cut you off, Kirsten. That's a program we'd like to get into year round. It's been kind of a capacity issue for us. But and I was gonna talk about it a little bit later, we're actually probably gonna add one more team member here at RDA as we begin to expand our geography. It turns out there's even more work than I expected, so that's a great thing. But part of that person's capacity is going to be doing more with art community in the district and doing more with vibrant window program year round and things of that nature too. So it'll be a hybrid working in the North Main area and then on some work of design issues.
So yes, and then and then you'll be hearing about the gift guide soon. So I'll be connecting with all, at least the retail people, to get photos and things like that. Probably the end of October, beginning of no, end of October. No, beginning of October. The time's going too fast. Beginning of October, I will be coming out to take photos. Have to get it to the printer by the 1st of November, so it has to be sooner than that. Let's see. And just one more thing, you may have received, if you're in the River District, you may have received an email from me about some. We've been getting a lot of information on marketing opportunities that we can't necessarily as an organization take advantage of, but I wanted you all to know about it because it's kind of they happen to be things that were kind of group marketing opportunities. So you can, if you didn't get that email, I can send all the details, but just real quick, living in the heart of Virginia, would love to do a whole week feature of the River District, and that can be featuring up to 18 businesses in the River District, and it's a 3 to 5 minute produced video that goes on their show and also on their social media for a month, and you can have access to the video to use as you want. I've been getting a lot from River City Magazine. They have little cluster ads that are $150, which is a great opportunity. They're small, but it can say, yeah.
Can I say something about the River City Magazine? I just wanted to encourage people that I do get a lot of people, a lot of customers who come from Hyco Lake. People around here think that they're just coming from Smith Mountain Lake. They're coming from Hyco. So anyways, we do get a lot more North Carolina people than some of y'all recognize. I just wanted to put a plug out for them to his help.
And then also, I think I don't know if it's still available. The Hometown Hustle has social media sponsorships available.
She's still she's getting ready to hit post-production, so there's still opportunity to be recognized. I think I don't want to speak for Natalie, but I think she does still have some sponsorships available.
So I sent that information out, and then Life of a Musician also has some opportunities. They're showing.
Yeah, so that's a great series that's being filmed this first pilot season for Blue Ridge PBS. Being produced completely here locally in cooperation with Blue Ridge PBS. And this first episode, if I understand correctly, will be shown throughout the Southeast. And then I believe they will eventually start showing that nationally. And the gentleman, Brandon Lee Adams, who's doing it, is already working on a season 2. And so it's a really low entrance to get into sponsoring that particular. And I love it because Brandon is actually bringing extraordinarily accomplished musicians to the area for these interviews who may not otherwise see Danville. And so there's a lot of reasons I'd love to support seeing this move forward, but it's really interesting. He's a very nice person, very intelligent person, very talented person, but I do believe he is already looking ahead for future seasons as well for sponsorship. So I think that information was in there as well. The reason we included it is he's also filming some of this in the River District. So, we have to be careful about how and who we promote, but he's filming some episodes in the River District. So that's how we're able to help get the word out to you about it.
Yeah, and just to clarify, I'm not like endorsing any of these. Exact, I just we've been getting information, and they seem like really good opportunities. So I want to make sure everyone in the River District had access to them. Yeah,
In addition to our fabulous.
Yes, if you want something, I can send you all of my information too. I know, I don't think anyone in here has been, involved with, say, for instance, Carol Hilton. She's very, outspoken for the River District and comes to most all, grand openings and so forth. And we have two other salespeople too. But we do on WAKG and BTM, both stations, one or the other or both, do live broadcasts. And we've done this in other cities, say for Eden, Reedsville, Martinsville, where this the organization pays for us to be there, or we get a sponsor that is, say, Robert Woodall or whatever, it's an automobile dealership that's not down, in the district, but represents the city. And then we talk about what's going on, say if Ballard Brewer's having, an event going on that day, or, say Cheryl's, store is, a unique place, but every break, we do 2-minute live breaks. We do 3 of those per hour. So you can buy 2, 3, 4-hour broadcasts. But all the locations in the city district, different river district, could ante up and pay for one, the broadcast. It sounds complicated, but it's not. You divide it among however many businesses is going to take care of it. And then we talk about those businesses that we're there to represent. And we can hand out, say, brochures about River City Tans or, insurance business, and let our listeners, whether it's our WBTM, which is the city of Danville, listeners know, or if you want to get out to the 18 counties that surround Danville and Brandy County on AKG. So it depends on the cost, of course, as to which station. But we do that. We also do Facebook Live, and Deanna was introduced to that because you guys were last year Shop Local, and that's something that Lori Lagarde will be talking to you on next, I think probably tomorrow, I believe, person. But Facebook Live was very inexpensive, where we go to, say, several businesses, like for instance, the living in the WSET, the 3 to 5 minute experience. We do that, and we have one of our announcers, whether it's Sherry in the afternoon or Alex on BTM in the afternoon, whichever announcer goes to the small businesses and actually videotapes and talks about it. So that is Facebook Live. We can do more than one at its time. And we promote you on the air. Also this month in September, we're going to be going around to different areas outside of Danville as well as here on WAKG, doing a working man's event, where we go to one particular store and we're there for, say, 20, 25 minutes. And we have hats, the camouflage WAKG hat that we give out to everybody that comes. And so we always get a tremendous amount of that as response. And then we will go to another business, we'll go to 3 and we'll promote it. So we also have, capabilities of doing web pages and then having it be a group that of businesses that sponsor that web page. So it's a lot of ways to incorporate several businesses and shed a cost. But I'll get you there. It's a lot to talk about in the short period. Yeah. But anyway. Okay.
I think that's it for me. Yeah, that's it for me.
Well, just one more quick update. I know we've been talking about expanding our work, into the geographic area to the North Main Hill District. And so that is still moving forward. It's slow work because you know, we've always been open that we don't feel like, you know, we're experts and need to go say, this is what we need to do and just do it and go away. That's not the way to engage community and make sure that you are meeting the highest and best use and needs of the people who live there. So it's slower work, but it's definitely moving forward. And I did want to just make one little shout out, even though Willie did a great job talking about Startup Slam. I'm super excited about this event. So I just wanted to talk about it a little more. It is a great place to come and share a business idea. I mean, you know, come and talk and mix and mingle. That's the thing, whether you're an existing business or not, if you're an investor, even if you're looking to do micro investing in businesses, angel investing in businesses, in a non-formalized way, because there's a lot of legalities around that, but you want to support a new business or perhaps get involved, this is a great place to come and do this. So, you know, we've got a microphone. If you're interested in talking about your new shower thought you had that morning, I just thought of the best widget. I wish somebody would make this widget. Whatever it is, you got up to 3 minutes to go up to the mic and share that idea. And whoever has the best idea, everybody there votes. At the end of the night, they walk away with all of the door money. So last time we had, I think 38 people come, 33 people come, 33. Is that right? 32. Walk away with $330 for his good idea at the end of the night. But the great thing is, this is teaching people how to do the most basic type of crowdfunding for one thing. For the other thing, I hope they take it to use to open a new business or like start their kitty, put the money away, but they don't have to. You know, if there's a bill that needs to be paid or somebody needs new shoes for an athletic program, then go do that. And so that's one of the also great things about it. And you don't know when amazing collisions will happen. We had a young lady pitch a business for a certain type of product that would, it was very specialized market for certain types of toys for educators, for kids with different types of needs, sensory needs. Happened to be someone in the room who ran an agency who was getting ready to make a giant purchase for those types of materials, had not done it yet, and connected right there so that to help that young lady start her business selling those things. And so you just never know what's going to come out of these collisions. Come on, come have to pay $10 cash, have a sandwich with us and a bag of chips, spend 2 hours. Let's hear what some great community business ideas are and vote on them and support them. Because again, we don't know if we're seeing, it's 5 and up too, guys. This can be the kids. We're seeding future entrepreneurs here. And so, you know, sometimes if you have 50 people show up and we give somebody $500 from the door, that can be life-changing for someone. So there's a lot happening here. While it sounds like, oh, okay, I'm gonna go listen to people talk about what business they're interested in, it actually has the potential to have much deeper impacts for individuals than that. So hope you'll think about joining us again, September 27th, 6 to 8. Kind of hard to wrap your mind around. I know we're just getting started. It's just the second time. But I was so encouraged by the participation and the enthusiasm with the first one that I think it's just a matter of time until it catches fire. And hopefully we'll have to find a place to hold 100 people and send somebody home with $1,000 or 500 people and send somebody home with $5,000. You never know. But all right, is there anything else we need to talk about for the good of the order before we wrap? I know we're about 8 minutes over today. I'll start on Zoom. Any comments, questions, suggestions, or final announcements from our Zoom guests today? We love your pretty faces here, but we're glad that you joined us online all the same. What about our guests here? Yes, Cheryl.
I just wanted to put it out there to especially retail people to kind of plant the seed to be thinking about the holidays and encourage whoever wants to get together, or maybe we can have a night of shopping, whether it's Friday night, Tuesday night, I don't care what night, but I think we all need to get on board and work on being more on board and having maybe the same hours, anything that we can do. I know Susan next door to me at Moss Mountain Outfitters, we've been talking about, we need to get people on board for, I mean, the casino is coming and we need to think bigger than we're used to thinking. So if anybody has any questions or suggestions about that, I'm happy to talk to somebody and help even organize that. And my email is cheryl@mainstreetartcollective.com, or I'm at the shop Tuesday through Saturday. If anyone wants to come talk to me or whatever.
And we would help promote that. I mean, if there's, you know, even if everyone doesn't say, okay, we'll try every Wednesday till 8, even if it's just whatever groups want to come together and kind of coalesce around trying some new things, we're happy to promote that as much as possible. Which is it next month that our meeting is all things holiday that we're going to talk about? Things of that, with the windows and the hours. And so we'll make that a point of discussion, is to gather up anybody who's interested in doing extended hours over the holidays. So maybe there can be some coordination and we can help.
Maybe
as
even
well.
just one night in November
Sure.
and one night in December. We just like having the first Tuesday, or build some hype and get people excited, whether do a discount or do cookies or.
And well, actually, Kirsten has an idea that she's gonna present to y'all about maybe a cookie book, I think, right? Is that right?
I didn't know if I should.
Probably next
I'll
month.
talk about that
About
when I have.
But yeah, we want to help, yeah, next month we definitely want to go ahead and help establish what that's going to be and promote it, or depending on what it is, what we can do. Excellent. Other comments, suggestions, thoughts, closing? Maggie, thank you again. I'll just give you another round. And as always, if y'all need anything or can think of anything, let us know. That's what we're here to do, is even if it's not something that we do, if we can bridge or advocate for it or connect you, please do. You know, I get calls and emails all the time from, oh, so-and-so's interested in maybe having a business or whatever it is, give my cell phone out far and wide. I got no problem with that whatsoever. Of course, we've got a great team here in the office too. So with that, make sure you grab a donut and coffee out of the door and have a wonderful week, y'all. Thank you. Bye, everybody online. Have a great week.
Bye, thanks.
Thank you.